Thanks, John. Chief Political Analyst David Brody is joining us now from Washington. David, tell us about the White House response to Mueller's statement.
Well, a few things. It was a two-step process, Pat, from the White House. First, on Thursday, Sarah Sanders came out and said, look, there's nothing to see here. Mueller has packed his bags and gone home, and so should everybody else. And then the president this morning, before heading out to Colorado to give a commencement address at the Air Force Academy, had what we like to call here in Washington another extended pool spray, a little chance to have a few diatribes left and right, more right, if you know what I'm saying. And here's what he had to say about the Mueller report and what was left out.
Why didn't he investigate Strzok and Page and McCabe and Comey and all the lies and Brennan and the lies and Clapper and the lies to Congress and all of the things that happened to start this investigation?
Indeed, the mantra, investigate the investigators. Where was all of that, Pat? And that's what the White House is concerned about specifically this morning.
Well, David, you believe that this actually is a huge win for the president. Could you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. I think first, there's so many things to unpack here. Let's start with this. There was no smoking gun. I mean, Robert Mueller, as Jay Sekulow just pointed out, he didn't say anything new. He said the report is my testimony, and he proved that in the press conference yesterday. And so when there's no smoking gun right there, that's a win for the president. But it goes beyond that. Look, Democrats at this point, they have a decision to make. As Shakespeare would say, to impeach or not to impeach. That is the question. And right now, with what Robert Mueller did yesterday, because there was no news necessarily, Democrats continue to be left with that decision. And look, Robert Mueller said, Pat, that he does not plan to testify. He doesn't want to do it. Well, that takes a spectacle, a media spectacle, a frenzy away from the Democrats. It's exactly what they want. Mueller said, I'm not going to give it to you. And so now Democrats are faced with a choice. Subpoena Mueller, get him in front of the cameras. At that point, they're going to look even more political than they already do at this point. And beyond that, what is Mueller going to do? He's going to sit there and pretty much read from the report. That's not going to look good for Democrats as well, either.
Well, David, as I see it, going for impeachment will tie up the Democrats between now and the election, and whatever policy they want to bring forth will be eclipsed by this investigation. What do you think on that?
I think you're absolutely right, Pat. Here's the issue, and Nancy Pelosi, I think, would pretty much agree with you. Basically, she is saying, hold off, let's just wait. But here's the problem that Nancy Pelosi has. She's kind of speaking out of both sides of her mouth. She's talking about how this president has abused the power of the presidency. Also, she's talking about she says the word cover up. And then at the same time, she says, well, you know what? I'm not quite sure I really want to go down the impeachment road. Well, if you believe the president abused the power of the presidency and you believe he was involved in a cover-up, morally, why are you not proceeding with impeachment? Well, we know the answer. It's politics. Shocking that politics comes from the swamp here in Washington. But this is what Nancy Pelosi is faced with. But I believe that train may be leaving the station. It may be much harder now for Nancy Pelosi to hold off the impeachment proceedings. I will say this. Watch for Joe Biden. We have not yet heard specifically that he is calling for impeachment. He's kind of danced around it a little bit. And Bernie Sanders hasn't either. But Biden is the one to watch.
Well, do you have any predictions for 2020 as we get into that closer to the election?
You know, Pat, here's my prediction, and it's the only one I know is true. Trump wins unconventionally, and he'll lose unconventionally. That's what I believe. So, in other words, everybody talks about the economy in 2020 and how it's roaring and it's going great. Donald Trump even admitted in a speech the other day, he doesn't really want to talk. He wants to talk about the economy, but in a speech to 20,000 people at a rally in Alabama, he says it's boring. People don't want to hear that. Look, he has a chance to kind of lay out the whole case, but he goes off prompter. Have you heard? He's on Twitter quite frequently, and he is sometimes his own worst enemy. And so I think, indeed, if he has a real good shot at winning re-election just based on the economy and an incumbency and all of that. But I think if he's going to lose, he'll do it unconventionally. He'll trip up somehow, some way. But that would be my only prediction. And so basically, Pat, I have absolutely no clue.
Well, that's the
and
kind
you can
of
quote me on that, Pat.
concise analysis we love to have. David, thank you so much.